Okay, we need to talk about TDS because it's getting out of hands. Hello everybody, this is the King of the Night back again with another video. You already know who that is, so no need for the long introduction. Let's get right into the video. What is TDS? TDS is an acronym that stands for Trump's Derangement Syndrome, and it's basically an attack that Trump supporters use towards his detractors who often criticize and mock him. Basically, what they point out is that a lot of criticism that Trump gets from his detractors is not substantiated and it's based purely of personal hate for the man, not valid reason. It's like the other face of the coin when his detractors say to his fans that they revere Trump as if they were in a cult. I think they have a name for it too. I think they call it the MAGA cult or something. I'm not sure. Even though I agreed for years that the left was right about some of Trump's supporters, yes, indeed, some of them really revere him as a deity. Seeing what transpired after the Tylenol drama really proved me that TDS exists and it's in full fledged. I will even argue that more people suffer from TDS than the MAGA cult syndrome, and yes, just because I proclaim myself as a health practitioner, you can safely label it as a mental disorder or as a disease. It's like a mind virus and it's way more concerning and harmful than the MAGA cult syndrome. So what happened? What is this Tylenol drama all about? A few days ago, on September 22nd, 2025, during a press conference, President Trump advised against the use of Tylenol for pregnant women, linking it to higher risks of autism for children who are born from women who took unreasonable doses of Tylenol during their pregnancy. And pay attention to the words here. Here's the video so you can see yourself.
Notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly. It can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it. And you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire. And you shouldn't give the child the Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it. The other thing that I can tell you that...
As you all listen, he made a link between Tylenol and autism, but actually never claimed that Tylenol caused autism. Trump even admits that he exaggerates his claim, but actually never makes the claim that Tylenol causes autism. He suggests against the use of it during pregnancy and even says to listen to your doctors. Following that, as usual, leftists took over TikTok to do the exact opposite of what Trump suggested, and pregnant women filmed themselves taking Tylenol just to stand in opposition to him. This is already insane, but if it had stopped there, it wouldn't have been that alarming. Big institutions such as Health Canada or figures of authority such as former President Barack Obama, or even doctors like Dr. Mike came out and immediately tried to disprove the claim. Here is a snippet of the article from Health Canada. Basically, they are claiming that Trump said that Tylenol causes autism and argued against that. That is literally the definition of a strawman argument. Not explaining you what a strawman argument is, Google is your friend. If you read the article, they are just asserting that Trump is wrong with no evidence. It's basically, just trust me bro, Trump is wrong. Even Dr. Mike, who claims not to be politically inclined, even though I personally believe that he is, did just that in his video and argued against the straw man. To be fair, he at least has given evidence to his claim, but he literally argued against a straw man. Same with CNN and writers. People on Twitter even made collages of CNN articles warning against Tylenol during pregnancy years ago and now are claiming it's safe today. And let me be clear, just because Trump said it wasn't. Obama didn't specifically mention Trump, but he was obviously referring to him. I'll find his tweet and I'll pull it up on the screen. Okay, I have his tweet right here. We have people in power making broad claims around certain drugs and autism that have been continuously disproven. The degree to which those comments can undermine public health, do harm to women who are pregnant, create anxiety for parents who do have children who are autistic, hyphen, is violence against the truth. Okay, I see what he was trying to say here, but even for Obama, this is poorly worded. Anyway, let's move on. So, not only they are arguing against a straw man, but you know what? Let's just grant that was the claim that Trump was making. Because I know a lot of people will tell me, oh, this is clearly what he was implying. Don't be pedantic now. He's clearly implying that Tylenol during pregnancy causes autism for children. So let's just assume that was Trump's claim, even though it wasn't. They are all acting as if Trump made that claim out of thin air, but his claim was actually substantiated by multiple health organizations and studies. A Mount Sinai study made the same claim. The National Library of Medicine did too in 2016. The University of Washington School of Medicine made the same claim in 2025. European Journal of Epidemiology made the same claim in 2021. Even the Twitter account of Tylenol tweeted against the use of Tylenol for pregnant women. This video is not a health advice video. Let me preface this, I'm actually not a doctor, but it is rather to raise a concern. We kept hearing from the left for years now, especially during the COVID era frenzy, to trust the science and stop questioning it. Even when people had reasonable doubt about a vaccine that we were practically bullied to take. But now we have science experts coming out and contradicting themselves just solely based on what Trump had said. Some even said that Trump's claims weren't even backed up by science. I genuinely believe those people don't actually know the meaning of the word science and they just use it because it's some buzzwords that gives credit to their claims. Are these people actually concerned about our health? The only people that had some credit were Dr. Mike and others using the same evidence as his. To be fair to him, he actually gave some credit to Trump's evidence even though he strongly argued against it. And his sole argument was, I have the latest larger study claiming that Tylenol is safe to an extent during pregnancy, so you should just trust me. He claimed that RFK cherry-picked his studies, but he's also doing the same thing when he won't consider the studies finding a link between children autism and Tylenol consumption during pregnancy. And his sole justification to not do so is because it's not the latest study. He also claims that science evolves. So in the future, there could be a scenario where there is another larger latest study finding a link between children autism and Tylenol consumption during pregnancy. So if that happens, what of the people that would have had listened to his prior advice? Will he even change his mind? Ultimately, his argument was, I know my science always changes its mind, but keep trusting it. And that is why, my friend, TDS is real and is way more concerning than the MAGA cult syndrome. These people are insane frauds. I'm sorry, but to be that obsessed and vitriolic about one man has to classify as insanity. And it is frightening because so many of them have authority over us. I remember earlier this year, I think it was in March or April or maybe February, during Trump's first apparition before Congress, he was listing his second term early achievements, and all the audience was ovationing him except the Democrats, of course, and he said something that struck with me. He said the following, quote, I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that could wipe out entire nations, and these people will not clap, will not cheer for this astronomical achievement. End quote. And I think he's right. A real, harmless, effective cancer cure could be discovered tomorrow, and people with terminal cancer will refuse to take it and will rather die if they knew Trump had given his approval to the cure. And this is actually insane. So, where do we go from there? I want to preface this. This is not a call for you to completely disregard your health practitioner advices and to only listen to Trump's health advices. He's not a doctor and he's not right about everything. In fact, he had gotten a lot of stuff wrong. But he was right when he called so many of the mainstream media outlets, fake news. So many of the mainstream media convey fake news. And all I'm saying is to listen to both sides' arguments and to use common sense to decide what you think is more likely to be true and what makes more sense. Refusing to listen to someone's advice just because you don't like the person is actually one of the most stupidest things that you could do. And be careful to appeal to authority arguments. The don't question the science because science is unquestionable type. This is a fallacy argument because it assumes that because one authority has made a claim, said claim must be true without actually giving you a justification for why such claim is actually true. I always listen to both sides' arguments. I personally don't like the left, and I think that their rhetoric and agenda are harmful to society, but I still listen to their arguments and try to decipher which makes more sense between the right and the left. So, in the end, you'll have to use your brain and think. I know it's hard for most people because most people are dumb, but I just showed you that having someone else do the thinking for you and just make an appeal to authority is not actually good because authorities are biased, they have political agendas, and they actually are biased against people they just don't like. So, learn to think for yourself. That's all. Please like, comment, and share if you like the video. I'll see ya on the next one.